Falling Stars by Played Crowd 5610. Chapter 8. The Good Guys. Summary. Then he's fed up with all of this slander. Then he sat on Starscream's chest plate with his knees pulled up to his chest as he focused on the beating spark beneath him. As long as he could hear that, he would know Starscream was alive. It's all Danny ever did. Listen, check his vitals. Listen again, he groaned, rubbing his palms into his eyes. Ratchet glanced over at him, but didn't make a comment before he went back to his work. Ratchet had come back to the med bay a little after Bumblebee had left from his and Danny's fun catch-up session. The med had gone straight back to work, occasionally rumbling over something or other, or angrily tossing a tool to the side. Ratchet's no-nonsense, no conversational nature was welcome to Danny, at least right now. It was like sitting with Soundwave, just with some added Cybertronian curses in the mix. But it was the voices outside the medbay that were getting to Danny. The Autobots were complaining to Optimus about Starscream, and with his enhanced hearing, Danny couldn't help but hear every word. He tried to tune it out, but the words cut through like knives. He glanced over at Ratchet again. Maybe the medic was put here to ensure Danny wasn't overhearing the meeting. He didn't know. Why is he even here? A deeper voice said. Probably Bulkhead. Starscream of all mechs. You know the problems he's caused. What's the point of saving him? We should have just let him rust in that forest. Another voice. Ace. How could the human defend someone with as much Emergon on their servers as Starscream? What could he possibly owe to that conniving seeker? I mean, maybe he doesn't know what Starscream's done. A softer voice chimed in. Probably rough. Either way, it's weird, Miko interjected. He's still sticking his neck out for him. And he snapped at me for no reason earlier. Optimus's voice joined in, sounding almost exasperated. It's not our place to judge Danny's choices, however unusual they may seem. The human shouldn't even be in there with him, Ace snapped. He doesn't know what Starscream's capable of. We should take him out of there before Starscream wakes up and someone gets hurt. Danny's jaw clenched as the conversation continued. They didn't know Starscream the way he did. Anger was filling his field as he listened, festering as he sat there. Ratchet glanced over again, raising an optic wrench. Optimus spoke up again. Danny wishes to stay by Starscream's side until the Decepticon wakes up. That is his choice. However, we will take him out of harm's way as soon as it is necessary. Danny seems to trust Starscream. Maybe he has a reason to, Bumblebee added. How can anyone trust Starscream? Ace exclaimed. Not even the Decepticons trust him. It's probably how he got in this mess in the first place. She scoffed. Danny's patience finally snapped. He jumped off of Starscream's chest plate and landed on the floor with a barrel roll. Ratchet startled and turned towards Danny as he stormed over to the medbay door, fury crackling around him. What are you doing? Ratchet asked. Danny ignored him. The Autobots and humans all turned as Danny marched into the room. Seriously? Danny snapped. You think I can't hear you? The group froze, exchanging uneasy glances. Look, I get it, Danny continued, his tone sharp. You don't like Starscream. He's done some bad stuff. But newsflash, so have most of you. He pointed at Ace, then Bulkhead. His glare swept across the room. How about you stop pretending you're all perfect and cut him some slack? It's not that simple, Ace stuttered, but then he cut her off. How can any of them defend you? He jabbed a finger in the direction of the human kids standing on the catwalk. How can they trust you? Bulkhead was the first to respond. That's not the same thing. Then he crossed his arms, his glare intensifying. Oh, really? Kids. He looked up at the three humans. Why do you trust the Autobots? Venom lands his words. Why do you spend time with them, care about them? Ace opened her intake, her optics flashing in irritation. There's no need for... Danny held up a hand, cutting her off mid-sentence. Ace's optics narrowed dangerously, and for a moment Danny thought she might deck him. But he ignored her, his focus now entirely on the 3 kids. Seriously, why? Give me one reason! Miko, predictably, was the first to speak. Bulkhead's awesome. He's always there to protect me, and even put himself on the line. He's also ready to go heavy metal on some con scum if I'm in danger, she called out, fist pumping the air. Jack stepped forward, nodding. Ace has got my back, no matter what. She's there for me, even when we don't always agree. She looks out for me, like no one else can. Ralph hesitated before speaking, a small smile spreading across his face. Bumblebee's my best friend, he said softly. I love hanging out with him, especially when he takes me to go out for RC car races. He really cares, and I can always talk to him. He got more excited as he explained. Danny nodded, letting the words sink in. He saw the way the Autobots' optics softened at the words. It was hard not to see the mutual care. He let out a breath. Those are perfect reasons to care about someone, to defend them. And those are the same reasons I care about him. He pointed back to the medbay, where Starscream lay, still unconscious, on the medbay berth. Ace's optics narrowed, still skeptical. I don't see how. Danny didn't flinch. Starscream cares about me, in his own way. He stepped forward, his voice steady. One time we were in a cave-in, and it started to collapse around us. He could have left me there. Would have been easy. But he didn't. He threw himself over me, took the hit, got burned under rubble to keep me safe. It almost killed him. The Autobots looked at one another, some of their expressions betraying surprise. He doesn't say it. Hell, I don't think he'd ever admit it. Danny continued, throwing his hand out to the side. But he would do it again. Ratchet stepped out of the medbay and into the conversation with crossed arms. You're talking about one instance. One act of self-sacrifice doesn't make him trustworthy. Danny's eyes snapped back to Ratchet, growing more intense. It's not just that. He hid me from Megatron. He lied to Megatron, and it nearly got him frigging killed. And when I'm hurt or sick, Starscream notices. And when I was hurt a few months ago, he wouldn't even let my feet touch the ground until I was healed, which, while very annoying at the time, showed he cares. Then he let the silence sit for a moment before looking at Jack and gesturing to Ace. Jack, you said that when it comes down to it, you trust Ace to have your back, to be there for you no matter what. And that's how I feel about Starscream. He's there for me every time. He pointed to Miko. Starscream defends me, protects me, even if I say I don't need it. He pointed to Raph and Bumblebee. And I talk to him about anything. We hang out. He teaches me parts of his language and culture. And the truth is, I like being around him, he continued. Everyone stunned into silence. Yeah, he's stubborn and has a massive ego, but I like annoying him. I like following him around, trying to be his conscience, when no one else will. Danny's voice grew sharper, his frustration spilling over. I don't get how none of you understand that, when you claim to feel the same things. Danny's fist clenched at his sides, his tone turning bitter. Yes, he's done terrible things. He's killed Autobots. But let's not pretend you're innocent. How many Decepticons have you killed in this war? Ace's expression darkened, and even Optimus remained silent. You claim to be the good guys, the ones who help people, care about life. Well, guess what? Starscream's a person. He's hurt, he needs help, and I'm not just gonna sit here and listen to you tear him down while he's lying in a med bay fighting to stay alive. Then he sighed. I'm not asking you to like him, but stop ripping into him before he even had a chance to explain himself. And stop judging me for trying to defend him, just like how you would defend your human partners. The other bots exchanged uneasy glances, but none of them interrupted. And right now, Danny's voice softened, I'm going to wait for my friend to wake up from his life-threatening injuries. So if you will excuse me, leave us alone. With that, Danny turned on his heel, storming back towards the med bay and pushing past Ratchet. The Autobots left in stunned silence as he went. Ratchet watched as the humans stormed past. The room he left felt filled with confusion, anger, and guilt. He sighed, looking over them all. Ratchet locked optics with Optimus, who looked at him with an implication that Ratchet unfortunately knew the meaning of. Great, now Ratchet had to talk to the kid. He turned into the med bay, closing the door behind him. The human was sitting on Starscream's chest plate again. Ratchet knew he was listening to his spark beat. Danny's eyes snapped up to Ratchet as the medic got closer. He then shrugged and looked away. What? You to tell me that this is another effect of Stockholm Syndrome? Or that I'm delusional for caring about a murderer? He didn't look back at him. It's my medbay. Am I not allowed to be in here? Ratchet asked, thoughtfully. The human shrugged. Ratchet noted the human placing a hand on Starscream's chest plate, brushing his fingers against the metal. The silence stretched for a long moment before. He almost died for me, then he said quietly. And Ratchet waited. Your most selfish con, he held up air quotes, almost died for a pathetic human. And that means nothing to you guys. He was sure he saw a tear run down the human's cheek. Great. Ratchet was not equipped to deal with crying humans. Sure, maybe the cave-in thing was a quick decision. He didn't know it would hurt him. But this, he gestured to Starscream's body, it happened because of me. You haven't seen how he's changed. Not like I have. Then explain it to me, Ratchet said, sitting down on a stool next to the berth. His helmet was now almost at the same level as the human. Then he shuffled around to face Ratchet. When we first met, he definitely hated humans. He would talk about how much of a pathetic fleshy I was. He laughed mifflessly. You know, the first thing he ever did when he saw me was punch me off a roof. Ratchet's field flickered with concern, and an upset expression spread across his faceplate. But the human continued. He thought I was an annoying pest, and he told me so. Tried to blow me up and kill me multiple times. Then he gestured to himself. Didn't work, obviously. He sighed deeply. I thought he was interesting and fun to annoy, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get rid of me. Starscream. He pushes everyone away. He snaps at them, insults them, tries to kill them, and throws them under the bus. That's just how he works, because he doesn't want connection. In his mind, in the Decepticons' minds, the connection is a weakness, and emotion is a weakness. But when he gets confronted with someone he can't get rid of, a relationship he can't mess up, no matter how hard he tries, because I'm not willing to leave, it starts to change him. Ratchet nodded. So you think your meeting Starscream has changed him somehow? Make him, what, a better mech? I certainly think it has. Then he looked down at the Seeker. I certainly hope it has. I know he cares. He's lost a lot. Just like I'm sure you guys have over this war. But all the Decepticons, save for Megatron, care about me. Maybe that is true, Ratchet said. But do you really think you changed the ideals of all the Decepticons? One human. Sometimes one is all it takes, Danny said softly. Ratchet's optics shuddered as he leaned back. You know, I never thought I would meet someone with more optimism than Optimus himself. Silence settled over them as Ratchet said. The Autobots haven't had many encounters with Starscream recently, nor many of the other cons for that matter. Just the drones in the mines doing shootouts. Maybe a couple of instances between Bulkhead and Breakdown. Ratchet would need to wait and see how Starscream reacts when he wakes up. Maybe this human had changed to Decepticons. Or maybe he was just delusional. But the way he talks about them, Ratchet wants to see this for himself. How did you find us anyway? Danny asked, thoughtfully, looking up at Ratchet. You ground bridged right to us, right before Starscream bled out. We received your distress signal. And your coordinates. Ratchet answered. Distress signal? Danny questioned. We didn't send a distress signal. The human sat up straighter. Well, we received one. Ratchet leaned over, typing in a few buttons on his monitor, pulling up the signal message. Then he stared up at it. How? Starscream was partially unconscious when we fell. I didn't think he could have sent something like that. Ratchet looked over the message again as well. The wording was particular. Well, if Starscream didn't send it, who did? And that was the chapter! I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like if you like my videos in general. Subscribe and share the video. I do Podfic commissions. Infos to that are on the screen right now or in my channel description. If you want me to read Podfic from you or someone else or for someone else, just contact me. You could get also early access to my Discord server if you do. Where you can listen to my recordings live or just get notifications of what I'm even recording next. And other than that, I wanted to put something out into the world that has annoyed me quite some time now. And this, I don't know, this has nothing really to do with this fanfic. Even though this fanfic was great, this chapter was great. I always love when I get to do it when people write they're people with more emotions, you know. Anyways, I have something that I wanted to just say, because I have noticed for a while now how the internet turned into this landscape of fake happiness. Most, if not all, fighting is just for clicks and likes. And it makes me so goddamn paranoid, especially in the comments of the fics I write. Because AI artists exist, and sometimes I'm like, oh cool, a new comment, only to read it and think, fuck, it's just another one of those artists who want my money. Not all of them are AI, but it's like, hey, you written a cool story that I didn't read at all. Could you pay me to make fan art? And that is the biggest fuck you can give to me and my creations. The only good thing they provided me with is someone to mess with. Also, if there's anything you don't like about my stories or podfics, tell me. Yeah, those suckers were very annoying. Or maybe it's just I don't know. You can see it with YouTube, for example. They have hidden how many people dislike videos. There's also an algorithm that restricts what you can type in the comments. For example, you cannot type Discord, anything with Discord. Like if you write Discord in my comments, you probably get flagged, and I don't think you want to get flagged. But I learned that from another Podfic, from the Podfic community on Discord itself. So yeah. That sucks. Also, a point to, oh yeah, not gonna let you talk out the real feelings that you have, because everybody needs to be happy. We cannot have unhappiness because it's so fucking evil and unnatural or whatever not. It's sad. What I've also noticed was I don't know if it's something the problem is that I see is I don't know how to explain this, okay? It seems like there's no criticism. And that's making me even more paranoid. Because yes, criticism might suck because people mistake it as hate. But it's part that needs to be there, because if I fuck up, I don't know other than if people tell me. And if nobody tells me that I fucked up, I don't know that I fucked up. So, yeah. It's just too much positivity, I guess. And it makes me kind of sick. But hey, it's just me, I guess. Or is it just me? Or has it happened to you? Tell me in the comments. It would very, very much make me happy that you listened to me ranting this long to answer the question. Otherwise, here are some highlights that I found in this recording session, which I am just too happy to share. Well, I don't know if I don't know. You know? I know. Here are the highlights, okay? How could the human defend someone with as much Amerigon? Their service. What could he possibly owe to that conniving? It's conniving. One time and when I'm trying to be his conscious. I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna check that. Yeah, I'm gonna check that. Because I'm unsure. No, that's the wrong tab. Okay.
Conscience.
So it is conscience. Okay. And stop judging me for trying to with an impeccable implication. Then he shuffled. Then he shuffled around to so you think you meeting Starscream was changed, and your coordinations. How Starscream was partially. Have a nice rest of your time, and see you next time.